Yo, what's going on? I'm Marcus. You're at the channel The Debt Free Dad. A big thanks and shout out to the over 2,300 subscribers who are supporting the channel, tuning in to watch the content, leave comments, all of that good stuff. Definitely appreciate you. This video is going to be short. It was something I wanted to talk about because 2022 and going into 2023 looks like it's going to be a crazy year for Elon Musk. And I actually had a video in the archives where I talked about Elon Musk, but I was like, this dude just had a lot going on. At one time, he had the sexual assault allegations that came up that resulted in litigation. Then we fast forward to the big purchase of Twitter and that whole debacle where they were selling blue check marks verifications for $7.99 and people was making bogus accounts and uh, influencing stocks and all of these things. I think somebody made a bogus account saying that the price of insulin was like zero or was going to be free or real cheap or something, and it caused the company stock price to go down. So Elon Musk just had a lot going on. I think he lost his title as the richest man in the world because I think Tesla's down something crazy like 65% or something to that effect. But I thought this was the perfect time for me to do a quick video because Elon Musk and Tesla are dealing with a fraud lawsuit that results from Twitter. Somebody putting out a tweet about a sale of Tesla to potentially make it go private. Now, before we dive in, hey, I always got to give the disclosure, the disclaimer. I'm a licensed attorney, but I'm not your attorney, so this isn't legal or financial advice. Just letting y'all know what we got going on in the household of the debt-free dad. Now, I'm going to give y'all the short version. Then we're going to watch a brief video to kind of explain everything in detail. Long story short, in 2018, Elon Musk shot out a few tweets, and these tweets essentially gave the impression that a deal has been secured to sell Tesla to the Saudi Arabian private investment fund for X amount of dollars. That I don't know if y'all familiar. That's the same fund that apparently the WWE has been sold to. Those Saudis, they got that oil money. They buy everything. And so Elon Musk shoots out this tweet. Subsequently, it causes the stock price to kind of go into flux. At one point, it goes up. At one point, it goes down. Long story short, it looks like this deal was something that was bogus. It was never any handshake deal. Nothing ever really came into fruition. And a lot of investors lost money during this time period in 2018, all because of a tweet. Like, I don't know when these rich people, I'm not even going to say rich people because you know how many times I've been in litigation and I found the perfect evidence for my case, even if I was doing defense work or prosecution, no matter what it is, it was always on social media. So people need to really be careful with what they tweet on social media because it could just kind of get ridiculous and it could get out of pocket. I'm going to play this real short video so we can get a nice little 3-minute breakdown of what this trial is about. Then we're going to just talk about a little bit of the legal nuances and the likelihood that some liability or some exposure would be had on Elon Musk's side.
Elon Musk is expected to testify in a federal trial that deals with tweets he sent in 2018 regarding the possibility of taking Tesla private. Elon Musk tweeted, "I'm considering taking Tesla private at 420, funding secure." He later followed up saying investor support is confirmed. Only reason why this is not certain is that it's contingent on shareholder vote. Tesla's stock price closed up about 11% the day that Mr. Musk sent those tweets, and it later gave back those gains and fell further.
Thank you all for coming tonight.
The deal, which would have been valued at around $72 billion, never materialized. The plaintiff has alleged that Mr. Musk's tweets were false, material to investors who relied upon them to make trading decisions, and that this class of investors lost billions of dollars as a result. Attorneys presented opening statements on January 18th case. An attorney for the defendants, who include Mr. Musk, Tesla, and members of the board at the time, described the tweets as shorthand made in the heat of the moment that didn't differ materially from the situation at hand, even though in some cases they may have been technically inaccurate. The plaintiff is seeking damages for investor losses that Musk's tweets allegedly caused. The plaintiff said in a trial brief, as a result of the turmoil in the prices for Tesla's stock, options, and bonds caused by Musk and Tesla's statements, investors lost billions of dollars from August 7th, 2018 to August 17th, 2018. The judge in this case has already ruled that certain of Musk's statements were untrue. That means that the key questions left for the jury include whether those statements were material to investors and whether Musk knew that they were untrue. Musk is expected to testify as soon as January 20th. The witness lists indicate that we may get to hear from Tesla executives and current and former board members about what was going on inside the company at this incredibly interesting, chaotic time at Tesla. The trial is expected to run for about 3 weeks through the beginning of February before being turned over to the jury to decide the verdict.
All right, so that video was probably the cleanest video that I could find that just kind of explained everything really short, a real quick synopsis. And I'm gonna just go on the record as saying, like, I don't like my CEOs and companies I invest in. I don't like my CEOs and bosses like being out front on Front Street. I feel like that's always a recipe for disaster because they always say something and do something. They do too much. They always in the media, and it creates a lot of volatility in the stock price. Let's think about it. Elon Musk is like the Jerry Jones of CEO. Like, really think about it. Elon Musk really controls everything and a lot of the operations in Tesla. He gets on Twitter. He talks too much. He makes a lot of things that are guarantees or promises or statements that always causes the stock to go up, to go down, causes crypto to go up, go down. I like my CEOs old school. Just shut the hell up, manage the company, work on a strategic plan, the vision, do all of that good stuff. But everybody need to know who the hell you are and be shooting out a tweet every few seconds. So the one thing that was very interesting in that video is during the pretrial motion. So you got a trial where they're arguing whether or not this was fraudulent and everything. But a lot of times the attorneys will argue over issues that they need to get agreements on, or that the judge needs to rule on before the actual trial starts. That's when you have a pretrial motion. So it looked like they had some type of pretrial motion to talk about the actual statement itself. Was the statement that he tweeted in fact false? The judge heard the evidence and clearly concluded that, hey, this statement was in fact false. So during opening arguments, I actually looked it up. The jury was instructed that they had to take those statements that were tweeted as being a false representation because, hey, Elon Musk couldn't provide any evidence that they were true. If he would have had some type of handshake agreement or something written that's shown that, hey, this was actually true, maybe it fell through on the back end, it probably would have been a different outcome, but he clearly couldn't provide that. So long story short, that means that the jury has to take those statements as false. The next things are quite interesting because the next question is, did the statement have the ability, or was the statement one that it should have been disclosed to investors because it had a ability to impact the stock? I think that's the easiest question in the world to answer. The obvious question is yes. Anytime you have the CEO tweeting about a company, anytime you have the president tweeting about something, it could be interpreted as policy. It could be interpreted as fact. And I think it's reasonable for the shareholders to actually need to know about that information because that information does have the ability to impact the stock. So I think that that's interesting. And I think that's going to be an easy thing to prove. The thing that's going to be kind of, I guess, uniquely is one, if he knew, I guess the last thing is, did he know that the tweet was false at the time he made it? Now, I seriously doubt that they can get anyone from the Saudi Public Investment Group to come and participate in a trial in the United States, because the courts wouldn't have any legal ability to actually reach out and grab them and make them appear and testify. So, if these conversations did happen, um, the easiest way for Elon Musk and his counsel to prove it would just be to have someone from the Saudi investment group just come and say, "Hey, yeah, we talked about it in principle. We kind of agreed to it. It just never materialized." But because the court doesn't have the power to possibly pull in anyone from that Saudi investment group, I seriously doubt that they'll have someone from the Saudi investment group to be able to testify to that. So that's going to be problematic. And the other thing they're going to look at is, did he have some type of intent to actually defraud or cause losses to shareholders? I think that's going to be difficult to prove as well, because let's just think about it. Who's one of the biggest shareholders of Tesla stock? Is Elon Musk. So the argument is going to be, yeah, why would I disclose this information or tweet this information knowing that it was false if I knew it would result in losses in Tesla stock, considering that I'm Elon Musk and 80% of my overall net worth is tied up in Tesla stock? I think that's going to be a very good point that his side is going to bring out. It's going to be interesting to see where this resolves at. There was also a settlement related to monies that were paid around this issue, but the settlement that was reached can't be disclosed to the jury because that would create some type of bias. So it's going to be interesting to see where this whole thing plays out. I personally think, I mean, this is going to be interesting, but I think that this litigation is a strong possibility it could just go in Elon Musk's favor. And I think for a few reasons. I think one, when they're looking at any type of intent aspect, I think that's going to be something that's really hard to prove. And I think it's going to be hard to prove that Elon Musk knew that the information he tweeted was false, unless there's some type of smoking gun that they may have, like an email or some other correspondence or some other testimony from maybe an executive at Tesla who can, corroborate the fact that Elon Musk knew this information wasn't true. Outside of that, I think it's going to be very difficult to prove. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes in a few weeks. And I'll be honest, I'm actually interested to see Elon Musk testify. And I say that because in my many years of being in court and having jury trials, this how could I put this? Someone like Elon Musk, for me, would be the worst person to put on the jury stand. And I'll tell you why. Most times, well, I can't speak for everybody, but and I've had, I mean, I can't even count the number of trials and jury trials that I had. But I'll tell you, most times the the worst person to put on the stand, or the easiest person to trip up, is someone who think they smarter than everybody. So a lot of times, the more successful you are, the more successful people, the people who are more educated, those are the people who I've seen in my experience. They always perform the absolute worst on the stand. And I think the reason behind that is because, if you just get a normal person to go on the stand to testify, they're going to, not, of course, everyone's not truthful, but most people are going to just tell their perception of what the events are when they answer the question. When you start getting people who, like, the PhDs, the lawyers, the CEOs, the Harvard graduates, the multi-billionaires and millionaires on the stand, a lot of time they too damn smart for their own good. So they try to get so slick with how they're answering questions in ways to not trip themselves up or evade things. It makes it really easy to bust their ass on cross-examination. I mean, that's just something that I found. I mean, cross-examination was always the funnest part because I would always get people to trip up or catch them in a lie. And without a shadow of a doubt, I feel like the more successful a person is, the more education they have, the more income they have. Those people who have multi-million-dollar Ponzi schemes and were Harvard graduates, those guys always perform terrible on the stand because, again, they thought they were smarter than everybody in the room. So is it going to be interesting to see how Elon Musk responds to the questioning when he's actually asked questions, when he's under direct, and when he's under cross examination? Because just from everything I've seen from Elon Musk, he seemed like somebody who think he know every damn thing and very cynical and arrogant. And a lot of times that doesn't play well in your favor when you're under that hot ass light sitting in that courtroom testifying. Everybody think, oh man, I can handle it. Mr. DFD, I got this. I've been doing this. Hey, I can stand up there and tell my story, and you rehearse it. But it's different when you're sitting in there and you got news outlets sitting there and people in the audience and people in the jury, and those beads of sweat start rolling down their head. People get real uncomfortable, and it increases the likelihood that they're going to fumble, that they're going to slip up. So if there is some evidence out there, it's going to come out in some type of cross-examination. Or like I said, unless the opposing side has either some type of documentation through email or telephone records or text messages, or they have an insider who can speak to the fact that Elon Musk knew the information he tweeted wasn't true. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Are y'all shocked that Elon Musk is in this mess? I mean, this dude he can't catch a break. I just saw an article today where everybody who got Teslas is complaining because their cars are only lasting for 100 miles fully charged. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if that's an Elon Musk thing, because I'm like, yo, it's electric. What do you think happens to an electric battery when you put it in the cold? It doesn't hold its charge as long. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. I just want to do this real short video talking about what the basis of this trial was, what they were talking about, what caused it. The moral of this whole story is, hey, be careful what the hell you tweet, because it could come back to haunt you or kick you in your ass. If you enjoyed this video, check out the video on the screen. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Peace.